Meanwhile, the UN ambassador, the United States ambassador to the United Nations, she said in the United Nations today, it's now the U.S. position that Russia is committing war crimes in Ukraine. There's been images that came out recently of Russia bombing a hospital in Mariupol.
Whoa.
Where several, and it was a children's maternity ward.
What?
The reports are that at least 3 children in the hospital have died.
Wow.
Several more injured. They knocked an entire building out. Whether or not it was an intentional missile launch on a hospital or whether it was a missile that went astray, nobody knows. The fact is they're shooting missiles towards residential areas, which is in of itself a war crime. The U.S. ambassador to the United Nations is calling it out. And Kamala Harris, late this afternoon, with the president of Poland, said that she believes that it should be investigated as a war crime, although the vice president hasn't come out and said war crime.
Right.
What that's going to do to stop anybody at this moment, nothing. But maybe in the future, as everything gets documented and as eventually at some point, if there becomes a peace, perhaps all of this documentation of war crimes may come back and haunt Russia, and especially Vladimir Putin and the people in his inner circle. It was a maternity hospital, correct?
Look at can you imagine like going to the hospital to have a child and a missile hits? What? The
United Kingdom has brought out some secret documentation from, I guess, their spy agency that Russia is now getting ready to use chemical weapons in the Ukraine, that they have shipped chemical weapons to the border between Russia and Ukraine. If this is in fact true, and if Putin decides to use chemical weapons, which is illegal to use, it's been illegal since the end of World War I, and he starts bringing in chemical weapons into the war, then the UK foreign minister said that would change the dynamic, and perhaps NATO at that point would have to get involved because the use of chemical weapons would be a red line that perhaps NATO would not allow Russia to cross. President Biden has not come out, the United States has not come out and said that is a red line. They haven't really come out and said anything about the chemical weapons. It was something that came out of the UK right now. What's interesting is when the UK came out and said that today, Russia is sending out false information that their Russian soldiers came across 2 labs in Ukraine that are being funded by the United States. They claim they have papers from those labs and that United States was secretly funding chemical weapon research in Ukraine. So
so they're just throwing out the news.
Well, the thing is that Russia, I believe this, and if you believe that the United States would not, why would the United States be funding chemical weapons research into Ukraine when they're not even part of our alliance? So you got to believe that Russia uses all of these things as a pretext to either continue to fight or to say, hey, now we can use perhaps chemical weapons too, which now that I'm thinking about it is probably why the UK foreign minister came out with this statement later in the afternoon today saying, we believe that Russia's going to use chemical weapons. Across Russia, that is on the daily news. So most Russians believe the United States was funding chemical weapons research in Ukraine. It's just the disinformation, that goes around is you don't know ultimately, what's true and what's not true. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.